Okay.
So I have 7:04. Call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Here. Mason Jack? Here. Armstrong?
Here.
Pelletier here. Puzo? Here. Swanson?
Here.
Jones? Here.
Quick note that the agenda still has 2019 on the top.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No big deal. No big deal. I feel like it takes at least a good month and a half before you can find, call the year the right year, right? So,
Okay. Sure.
all right, I'll make a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes from December 12th, 2019.
I'll second.
Any questions, corrections?
Okay, if everybody, sorry, what am I doing? I'm reading those.
Yes.
All those in favor of approving the minutes from December 12th, 2019, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, I'll make a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes from December 12th, 2018.
Second.
Who said that? Okay, thank you.
Again, any questions, corrections?
Yeah, that's. So you do have a copy of the finance committee stuff in there. We do not have a finance committee meeting tonight, so you can, don't worry about those. So the finance committee will approve those at their next meeting. That's it, session.
Gotcha.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the executive session minutes from December 12th, 2019, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
All right, public comments, agenda items only. No public. President report. I don't really have much other than thank you to you and Ed for the walkthrough, for attention to detail. It's nice getting to know, at least get to his personality a little bit. That's always helpful. And I think it's helpful, right, just to have like the perspective and all the ins and outs, the background and everything, so. So thank you for that. So committee reports. Finance.
So as I mentioned, the finance committee did not meet, and
Right.
so what I had suggested to Emily and Carlotta was that we kind of meet as a committee of the whole and approve or accept the financial reports altogether.
So I'll make a motion to approve the financial reports for December 31st.
Second.
Are there any questions? We're moving,
Yeah, so a couple things. Yeah, so you'll see that petty cash is still pretty high. Last month, when the board approved moving $307,000 or whatever the exact amount was, part of that, most of that was supposed to come out of operating into special reserves from the sale of the building, and then we were supposed to move, I think, $8,000-ish from petty cash to operating. That didn't happen, everything got moved from operating. So there is a resolution on today's agenda to move the petty cash funds. So that's why that's still so high. It's not that we all of a sudden came into $8,000 in December in petty cash. So.
but okay, that 3,000 320, whatever it was.
307, I think it was.
Right, that included the petty cash? It did not.
Well,
Two
yeah.
separate,
So the resolution that was passed at last month's meeting did not specify, it just said from operating into special reserves.
Mhm.
So, as far as like the audit is concerned, these petty cash and payroll, and those are all our operating funds, they're all 10 funds. And what the resolution says, if you look at even this month's one, it says to move things from the 10, or the operating reserves 10 something to 20.
right.
Okay, so what that did, we still transferred 307,000 and change, or whatever it was, the exact amount, we still transferred that much, but that was, we still had excess funds that we could transfer.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You understand, so.
Because it's general fund.
Right, right,
To
yes,
special
general
reserve.
fund to special fund, yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so I mean, and we are allowed to do that at the end of the year, we're able to, I mean, as long as we pass a resolution, we can transfer any funds that have not been expended in the general fund to the special reserve fund.
Mhm.
It's a way that we have of saving our money.
right,
So-
right. But have we done that as far as what's left of the tax dollars that we got, that was left over and we didn't spend?
So if you look at the income statement, you will see that we, at least as of right now, until we get the final audit, we've spent about 95% of our funds, so we're pretty, even with all the changes we made and everything, I think we did pretty well. So, at this point, I would have to check with the auditor, but I don't believe, we can transfer from the general fund to the special reserve fund at any time. It would be my recommendation not to do that because we haven't started getting any more tax monies in. And so I want to make sure that we have enough money to pay our bills.
Once we have money from, okay.
Yeah, and if you look at this, I mean, as of the 31st of December, we still had $1 million in the operating fund. Now, we've run some payrolls and those kinds of things, so I want to make sure that we've got enough money to pay our bills before we start getting tax monies in. So usually we're not gonna transfer it down so we're so super close that we don't keep enough funds in there to pay the bills, so.
Check register, any questions? There's the voided check to Steiner, 4120 for 405. But then there was a check 4098,
Yeah, did you just pay him?
which was to be paid
With Steiner.
twice.
Is that when there was voided?
Yeah, so they were, they had sent Ed an email with the invoice, and we paid it from that, and then they mailed us an invoice.
Okay.
and
That's what I
we paid
figured,
it.
the
So,
numbers,
Yeah,
were off, okay.
so that's what that's from, and here's the copy of the voided check. if you want to see it.
Hunter Turns, 4130.
That's for a program.
Is that a program?
Yeah.
Okay. Right,
Is that really how you spell it?
I don't know,
Turns, right?
but. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't just being funny, I mean, it's Turner. That's a program.
Wait a minute, Steiner is down here 3 times.
Right, well, because one for the initial payment, then they paid again, and then the voided. Right?
Right, yeah, so 3. 2 checks written, 1
So
voided.
So there's 4098, and then paid again 4120, and then further down the page, 4120 is voided.
4120, I got it, okay. Got the numbers.
Any other questions on the check register?
For the income statement. We didn't have that receiving, no, that's not so.
We did get a couple of payments, they trickle in occasionally, that could be, if, a piece of property is sold, and they're paying back taxes, that kind of thing, so we did get a couple of smaller deposits in the last month, but But obviously the big ones are done, and then we'll start to see, you know, the first half of the tax money come in February-ish, because you should get your bills soon-ish. I always forget, because in community
March.
pages, March is, first is when they're due, so you should start to get them in February, and then we usually start to see funds in February.
Do we have a Costco membership for food primarily, or?
Yeah, it's usually for stocking the vending machine, and then like paper supplies, that kind of thing that we use either for programming
Paper
or,
supplies, because I'm.
or like, I shouldn't say paper supplies, things like paper towels and napkins and paper plates, that kind of thing that we would use either for programming or for, you know, staff events or anything like that. But primarily the Costco membership is used, right now we're using it for vending stock almost primarily. Though we actually did get the vending machine from Costco as well.
Really?
Yeah, so, and I think we got
Costco is everything.
I think we got a TV from there or something, so. But
It's
primarily.
It's true, you can get stuff for your top of the night and buy a outfit.
What? They get you coming and going.
Any other questions on the income statement or checkers?
Okay, everybody's ready, we can vote on the financial reports for December 2019. Mesa Jack,
Yes.
Monzone,
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Puzo, Swanson,
Yes.
Rhodes, yes. Gonzalez,
All right, next committee, facilities, well, I'll do that today. Policy, I know the next policy meeting is scheduled for the 27th.
Yes, is that, I know Tamara, it's 5:30 on the 27th for Meg as well, and I'll be sending out the policies to you over the next week or so. So, great.
Staff reports.
I don't think I have anything to add to my written report that I haven't already said, at least for tonight. So unless anyone has any questions about my report or any of the departmental reports.
This Paylocity, that's what we use now?
That's what we're
for payroll?
currently using, yeah.
And we're trying to find,
Well, we used to use Paycom and we switched to Paylocity for cost. They had some functionality that Paycom didn't have at that point. A representative from Paycom came out to see me last month and we went over some things, and so they've done a lot of development of their product, and so we're looking at that, seeing if that would be easier for setup and for the staff to use, and then cost. So I had another meeting with the sales rep today, and so she's getting me some cost, and so I'm just looking at that, making sure that what we're using is the most cost effective in terms of not only the price, but how easy is it for me to set up all of these back-end modules, because unfortunately they're not quite as easy in Paylocity as they made it seem when they did their presentation. So you know, I'm always looking at something that's gonna make that portion of my job a little bit less labor intensive.
Okay.
So,
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the same company changing their name.
No.
Okay.
Yep.
Did OSD complete their priority projects?
The laptops are done. Yeah, pretty much all their priority projects are done. They're still working on troubleshooting some of the computers in the computer room. I'm switching those from Windows 7 to Windows 10 operating system. So there's a couple that haven't been done with that. And just some little kind of setup things, like the laptops, depending on what area of the library they were going in, like some went for patron checkout, some went for computer classes, some went for, you know, staff to use for programming. They each needed something different on them. So they're just working on some of those last, you know, those less little things, like, you know, one needed a different program on it, that kind of thing. So those are primarily done. So most of their big projects are done. And I don't foresee, like all the servers that they wanted to replace, those are all done. Most of what is going to be happening in 2020 is just kind of regular maintenance at this point, and then, you know, if things break or whatever.
So overall, you were pretty satisfied?
I was very satisfied with them, actually. They were very easy to work with. Things did, I think, take longer than they anticipated. That I anticipated. That was mostly due to trying to undo decades literally of cobbling things together and, you know, lots of workarounds and that kind of thing. So they paid a lot of attention to making sure that our network architecture is set up correctly. And, you know, that some of that back end stuff takes time. But they have been, quite frankly, I've just been, you know, really, really super happy with their work and level of attention that we've gotten from them.
Like that Carl and I were chatting about this, but I was very impressed with Chad at last month's meeting. You know, his ideas, the energy he's put into this, so please extend our gratitude
I will.
for him coming. I thought Karina and Helga did such a good job with that winter, and we have like,
I know.
we have the best planter on Dumpster.
Did we?
It's so cute, yeah, it really.
Some of them look very sad. They're just.
I know, they're like,
Well, I
like,
looked at some of it and they did say, they're like, if we want to spend a little more money, because I think you got like a starter pack
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
village. I know that's what they've done in the summer. And Karina said, you know, is it okay if I buy a little bit extra? And I said, sure. And so they were
Yeah.
super excited to do that, so.
It was, yeah, I mean, it catches your eye, I understand, again, because,
Yeah.
you know, again, because a lot of them really do look sad.
Well, Helga does a lot of gardening and Karina is just so creative and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
she loves doing those kinds of things and I like have the black thumb of death. So I was lucky my children lived, you know, that kind of thing. So I cannot keep any plants alive. So yeah, so I thought it turned out really nice.
And then Karina also did an awesome job organizing the retirement party for Blanche. It was Hawaiian themed,
Beautiful.
and it was so adorable. I want to throw a Hawaiian party just because it was just so cute. So
That was cute.
there's Hawaiian catering.
I think French
Yeah,
really
it was-
appreciated.
She did. She was very appreciative and she thought that was a perfect, you know, it was low key. She didn't want anything like really huge and stuff like that. And so she did. She had a really nice time.
People
And,
had fun,
Yeah.
and you kind of lingered at the tables and
Mhm.
chatted, and wow, that was a good thing.
she is enjoying her retirement though. She stopped in today. So
Oh, good.
yeah. Yeah, she came back the other day, so.
The virgin daiquiris and virgin tea.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it was really cute. Karina, she did a nice job.
Yeah,
I will make sure to tell her that.
yeah.
Any other questions about my report or any of the department reports?
How's the cleaning company working out? I know that there were some issues where things weren't getting done to your.
They've been better. We had run into some issues a few months ago, and Ed and I met with them. Like the kind of the salesperson, and then the crew chief, and then one other person from the crew came in and met with us, and they were actually replacing the crew that came out.
Right,
And so
okay.
since that has happened, we've had no
New
issues.
crews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for Pam? All right, corporate counsel, I'm assuming nothing, all right. Okay, so
I may
unfinished.
take that off of subsequent agendas, if that's okay with everyone. I know that was
I don't-
included when Frank was coming for a variety of reasons, but
Yeah,
I think,
Hopefully we won't have any.
yeah, hopefully, we
Yeah.
I'm all about low drama.
Yes.
Low drama.
Yeah. all right, so 2020 per capita grant application review.
So I just, I included this, thank you to all of you for completing your education components. This is the completed per capita grant application. And then as part of the per capita grant application, the state also asks us to submit an expenditures report, and usually those are 2 years behind, so the expenditure report is for 2018. And you can see the monies that were spent from the 2018 per capita grant, what those monies were spent on. And then obviously this year's application, I plan on any per capita grant monies we get going towards renovation. So this is informational for you guys to see what I'm submitting.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so next planning project for Wise Department proposal.
So as I've mentioned several times, we have met with Product Architecture Plus Design, Architecture and Design.
It's a mouthful.
It is a lot, so I usually say Tiffany and Dan, which is easier. They did come out and talk with me. This is their proposal. They want to, as they've outlined in their proposal, meet with, relevant staff and board to discuss our goals for the YS renovation. And this, as you can see, is their proposal.
But we only have this one proposal.
Right, so we're not required to get more unless the board wants me to go out and get more. This is an architect that Courtney and I they have done a fair number of libraries, and we're familiar with their work and we like their style in general.
So they aren't affiliated with the ones that did?
No.
Okay.
No, they are not the same architect that did the main floor. So,
Pam, so you said that they've done a number of libraries,
Mhm.
any that we could see?
sure.
Like
Lincolnwood,
close by?
yeah, they did Lincolnwood. They've done, they're doing Carroll Stream right now. They've done some stuff at Barrington. I think they've done some stuff at Arlington Heights, different projects. Lincolnwood, they did a lot, and that probably would be the closest to go in and see. I can get you a more complete list because there's quite a few of them. But, if you wanted to go and see some of what they do.
Because you're familiar with them.
I'm very
I'm
familiar with them,
clueless.
and we like I said, we like their aesthetic in general, and they're very easy to work with because they do work with a lot of libraries. They understand the business of libraries, where, there are some architects that don't do a lot of libraries, and so some of that, there's a lot of kind of explaining that has to happen about, what happens in a particular space, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, if the board would like us to go out and look at other architects or have them come out, we can do that. If that's what you want me to do. So that does push everything out that much further, if that's.
I would trust your judgment with this.
So this is not an area that we are required to get like 3 bids or anything like that.
No, I knew that, but I was just wondering, because I've never heard of this. It wasn't from the DD upstairs, and I'm going, why are we going with them? But, okay, that's fine.
I will also be completely honest, even though we're on tape. There was a lot of, at least I think after the renovation here, there was some dissatisfaction with what had happened during that whole process with them. And so staff had been hopeful that we wouldn't go with the same company.
Okay.
So.
So it's 30,000, 11,000.
So it's for, the fixed fee is 11,000, and that would be the part that we would agree to now. And then the rendering parts, if we wanted to do that, we would pay that 3,000 later. So right now, we would just be agreeing to the 11,000.
To the 11.
Which would be, constitute the meetings and then the 3 different plans. And
So they would present 3 different plans without renderings?
they can present them with rendering. Like renderings they'll do on the computer and do like the whole thing. They'll give you like the floor
the
plans and
3D
stuff.
renderings,
But yeah, the 3D renderings are the 3,000
Alright.
extra, sorry.
Because I was like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to imagine.
No. They'll give you the 3 different versions of the plan and the program plan and that kind of thing. And then if we wanted to do see the 3D renderings, those would be the extra $3,000.
Did you do 3D renderings when you did the other project upstairs?
I don't know, I was not
think
here.
so. I don't
That
think
was
we
good.
did.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
Maybe
just curious.
Something to ponder, and this would be, if they would, put the renderings for us to either make a presentation or whatever. I don't know if you would want, like, the rendering we choose, the 3D rendering we choose to be on display upstairs, like this is what's coming. If that's,
I think that is certainly something that we could discuss. I think that once the board decides on how they want to proceed with whatever plan, certainly it's a way to.
it's just an idea, that's not.
Yeah, absolutely. And people get very excited when they see those because it's, I, for example, I have a really hard time picturing things, so it's always useful for me. So I would say, if this is a way we're going, that, when the time comes, I would recommend that we get the renderings, because I think it would be useful for all of us to kind of see, and that would be But the renderings are optional, but but you're still getting the full floor plans and the program plan and everything like that.
Do you need approval from us for the,
Yes.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for professional services from Product Architecture Plus Design for $11,000.
I see.
I have one question though. Do we need to have any kind of timeline attached to this?
That we will develop when we have our meetings, or
So-
what, does that answer your question?
Well,
What?
this part B says that there's gonna be initial meetings with staff and board, and
Mhm.
I'm just wondering, does that need to have any timeline, or this is just very generally, we're saying we wanna go with you?
Right, and then once I get this sent to them, then they'll come back. I know when I tentatively talked about this with them, when they were out here initially in, was it December? They had talked about coming to talk to the board maybe at the February meeting. So,
Okay.
so some of it will just depend on, if I get this sent to them, if the board approves it and I get it sent to them tomorrow, then I'll, talk to them about setting up a meeting. They might want to meet with me and or Courtney, at least initially, but they do absolutely want to come and talk to the board. And then, we may decide that there's a subcommittee of the board that kind of, focuses on this, or we do everything as the committee of the whole, that kind of thing. So this is just saying we're going to move forward with this, and then we'll figure out what the timeline is after that. Because some of that will depend on what their schedule is, and then also kind of our anticipated dates or time that we would like to do something. Certainly, we're not going to do anything during summer. What we would tentatively be looking at would be, fall, winter of next year. So, but that could certainly change depending on what the plans end up looking like and what they have to do.
Any other questions? Okay, so we will vote on the proposal. Monzon?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Puzo?
Yes.
Swanson?
Yes.
Jost?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes. Next, I'll make a resolution, make a motion to approve resolution number 2020-01, resolution authorizing transfer of funds from the general library fund 10 to special reserve fund 20 in the amount of $8,572.38.
Second. Volunteer, yes. Oh, wait, sorry, discussion on that, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, any questions? Any
I think we discussed it during the financial
Yeah.
report, so we'll see where the money's
Yeah.
coming from. But if anybody else wants to speak. No, we're good? Okay, Puzo? Swanson?
Yes.
Jost?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Monzon?
Yes.
Okay, open meetings after.
So this is on the agenda for those of you that have been here on the board long enough. We do review the executive session minutes and the executive session recordings. We're required to do that twice a year. I'm working with Teresa on what that looks like, and so we didn't want to rush because it's a lot of nitpicky, making sure we have the right sets of minutes and stuff. So we will be reviewing the executive session minutes in order to comply with the Open Meetings Act in February. So there's no, the statute does not specify a month that has to happen, they just say 2 times a year, so, or biannually or anything. So we're fine with that, but that will be happening in February, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on that.
Okay, thank you. All right, director vacation.
So again, as the auditor has suggested that, so that there's some kind of trail for my time off, I would ask the board to approve my time off for I have to go be the tire wife in Hawaii next week. I know, it's.
I really, really feel bad for you.
I know, I'm sorry.
Like,
And then,
To the point where you'll volunteers.
I know, somebody else was saying, I think Courtney was saying, because I'll go.
Yeah, I know.
So, that's the problem, and it sounds awful, I told my husband, do I have to go? But it's fine, it's like I have a bunch of other things to do at home, so it's fine. It's fine, I know it sounds awful. And then my son is getting married in May, so.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve Director Locker's vacation for January 11th through 18th, 2020, and May 7th through 11th, 2020.
I'll second.
We just started doing this, like at the end of this year.
Last
year.
Yeah,
so I thought,
So-
oh, it's like,
I know, and it's hard, because I mean, I'll take days off that I don't have time to get board approval and stuff, and and now, I mean, I have my email with, I check my email all the time, I have my phone all the time, so it's a little bit different than it used to be, where like you were out of town or out of the country even, but yeah, it's just kind of, from an auditing standpoint, that they
but how
suggested
many
that
weeks do you get?
I get 5 weeks.
5. Okay.
Should we roll call that or?
I think you can voice vote it unless anyone's gonna oppose.
All those in favor of approving the vacation days, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Please don't check your phone every day while you're.
I do though,
That's just-
and so.
Enjoy the night. That's very nice.
All right, I'm excited, I'm gonna see the Pearl Harbor thing, which I've never seen, so it's got me, and then we're going to a resort, which I plan, doing spa stuff.
All right, communications, so it's the one letter from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is from the Northern Illinois Food Bank, and so OSG, who is our IT outsource, they made a donation in our name.
Yeah.
So I didn't know they did that, so I thought that was nice and nice.
Thank you.
All right, public comments on agenda items, still no public, no need to go to executive session. So, I have 7:36. Meeting is adjourned.